Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to look at a riff I used in my last video. The link is in the description below, which is an indie rock intro. So here's the riff in full. Okay, so let's play that slowly and then we can break down each section. So those are each of the sections. Let's have a look at each one of those in detail. So the first uses a G sus4 chord into a G chord, and I'll show you what that looks like. I use my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the E string and my little finger on the 3rd fret of the other E string to make a G chord. And I'm just touching the fleshy part of my finger on the A string so that it doesn't sound when I play, so it's muted. So when I play the chord, it's a G chord, nice round chord. But the first section uses a sus4, so I'm using my index finger on the 1st fret of the B string, and that sounds like this. So that note is a C, and if you put a C into a G chord, it's a G sus4 chord. And the strumming pattern, a little bit slowly, is then I'm playing a C chord into a C major 7 chord, and all I'm doing is moving my 4th finger down to the A string on the 3rd fret, and that's a C chord. And again, I'm using the fleshy part of my finger to mute the D string, so you can't hear the D string sounding when I'm playing the chord, and it sounds like this. So the second chord is a C major 7th, and all I'm doing is taking my index finger off the B string to play a B. So if you put the note B in a C chord, it's a major 7th. Looking at the next section of the song, you've got an A minor 7th, and then you're similarly taking your index finger off. The strumming pattern is the same. With an A minor 7th, it's the same as the C chord, but instead of using your ring finger on the note C, you're actually taking it off and using your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. Now I play an open A string, and I'm muting the E string with my thumb so that doesn't play. So I'm playing from the A string only. There's the muted E string. And then taking my index finger off. The next section of the song uses an E minor chord and then a D chord. Here's the E minor. And that has my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string and my ring finger, my 4th finger, on the 2nd fret of the D string. into a D chord in which I'm muting the top 2 strings using my index finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, and my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the E string. And that speeded up. Then the riff resolves by playing the G sus4 chord into the G. Now the G sus4 chord or sus4 chords are quite good at creating tension. So you play a sus4 chord and it doesn't feel fully resolved, and then when you resolve it, it gives you a nice sort of warm feeling. So the G sus4 chord to create a bit of tension into the G chord to resolve it. So that's why I'd use the G sus4 chord at the start of the riff. Then you're playing a C chord into a C major 7th. Now a major 7th is slightly melancholic, so you're doing a nice round major chord into a major 7th, which sounds not quite sad like a minor chord, but slightly melancholic. And then you've got 2 fairly solid chords, an E minor and a D, which leads you into the last section. So it's after the C and the C major 7th, you've got something very similar. So an A minor 7th, even though it's an A minor chord, it does sound fairly robust. And then when you take your index finger off, it gives it that melancholic feel again. And then you've got 2 nice robust chords, the E minor and then the D, to take you into the final section. And then we finish the song by doing the G sus4 into the G. Sus4 chords are a great way to end a song because you've got that tension and then resolve. So at the end of a song you often find a sus4 chord which then resolves into a major chord. So that's the indie rock riff, and I hope you found that useful. Please do let me know what you think.